There we go. Hi. I'm nearly ready. One second. I'm just missing one thing. Good afternoon, Anne. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Diane. Hi, Sue. Okay, I found it. Good afternoon. These shows, I can make a ginger block, I would hope, with my eyes closed, but then I fall into this false sense of security half an hour before a show. So I was just, casually in the kitchen, marinating the meat for dinner, making myself a cup of coffee, and looked at the time. Whoa. How are we all this afternoon? Are we good? It's Wednesday. I get so confused because we keep changing the days that we're doing the shows. It's probably no better for you either. Who else did I miss? Hello, Janet. Hi, Louise. Maureen. Hi, Yvonne. Louise, your fabrics were looking sensational for your geisha. I just needed to say that again. Good afternoon, Yvonne. Judy Vermeulen. Now she's on Bridie Island. Far out. All sorted with your machines as well. Good afternoon, Jimmy. Major, good afternoon to you. Lois, Lynn, Sue Morris, hello. How are you? Hello, is it Marie? Is it Mari? Oh, it's Maria. You've shortened your name. What are you doing to me? The fabrics just left the building, by the way. Good afternoon, Gail. Karen Carter's here from Kuala Lumpur. Oh, I just needed to add the accent. Joy, hello to you. Denise, hello to you. Is it Denise? I've got one Denise that's waiting on threads for me, and there's a reason why, and I will explain in a minute. Bernadette, good afternoon to you. Very excited, Bernadette. Very excited with your email. Jenny Sleeman's here. Denise Reeves is here. Looking forward to today's show. So am I. Love a bit of ruche. Love a bit of 3D. It's been my world for the last couple of days. Diane says, been ages since I caught up. I know. Where have you been? Not doing this quilt, but I just thought I'd hang out with my sewing crew. Aw, thanks. Well, look, the thing is, you might just pick up something that you like in terms of a technique or a tip, but just hang with us. Just hang with Jimmy and the girls. And John hops in a minute. I'm going to have to change the name, Jimmy. Catherine, good afternoon. Yolanda's here. So we have our overseas contingent. Ooh, we have to talk about overseas. It's all happening overseas. Lois, hi. Karen DeWitt, hi. Mark Stanton, hi. Anne, hi. Carol, oh, you're all beautiful. Pam Stanton's here. Fiona's here. Are you on shift work this afternoon? Fiona, are you? Bronwyn Smith's here. Glenda's here. Nancy, Karen, Jill. Yep, no, Jill and I have had that conversation. Frances, hello to you. Margaretha, you sneaky devil. I saw what you did. You're not the only one this afternoon who's been into the website. I saw what you did. Marie's here. So you haven't seen Marie for a little while. Diana's here from Costa Rica. My life is complete. I am missing Maria from Spain, but I think she's still asleep, yeah? Is that right? She'd still be asleep. I think so. Hello, Chris. Hello, Anne. Jimmy doesn't mind being one of the girls. Well, that's good to know, but I don't like to forget that you're there, Jimmy, and I have to play the game, and say the right thing. No work today. Tomorrow afternoon, Fiona. Great. Then you can stay with us. Super duper. So, these are not for you. I am so sorry. I will move these. I didn't mean to leave those there. I've been taking photographs. These are for the soiree. No, sorry. The day you have when you're not having a soiree. These are for the special sale and stitching day that we're having in September. I'm being very good. All of my super duper specials, remnants, ender bolts and everything are going to that event in September. And then after that, if there's any left, I will share them on Facebook. But it's a big weekend. You know all about it, don't you? You do. You do. I don't even know if I've got a... Oh, look at that. Rob's been playing with my... Oh, look at this. Hang on. I have to show you. Look. Ta-da! I think I know how to change them now. I have to do it sort of... I think I know how to change images, which is great because it means when we get to the Christmas stuff and you send me in photos of your quilts and things, I can actually show them to everyone. Needleworkers Soiree. Newsletter this week. Everything's there on Facebook. Needleworkers Soiree has its own Facebook page. Please come and join us. It is $35 a head for a day. And this morning Margaret said, it's not bad, is it? And I said, no, it is really good because I'm baking 12 different things for morning tea because I'm doing my Chandler's College calendar and I want to bake all of them and have them all out on the buffet morning tea at our Stitch and Sale weekend. And $35, and then you get VIP access. You get to sit and sew with your mates all day, and tuition if you need it, endless cups of coffee and tea, and then you get VIP access into the sale room with all our stuff an hour and a half before we let the general public in. In Garfield, the lovely people at Garfield actually put our events also up on the Garfield community website page, so thank you to John for doing that. So we're even in there now, which is very, very exciting. Hi Kathy. Liz, hi. I'm treated like a lady Friday at my local quilt group. That happens, Jim, when you're in the small minority. It would be the same as me going to a, I can't say woodwork men's shed anymore because there's lots of girls in the wood sheds, isn't there, in the men's sheds. It'd be like me going to a class on mechanics for beginners, and I'd be one of the boys. I'm totally fine with that. That would be okay. All right, so today, It's probably a little bit short and sweet today, and that's probably a good thing because I have to get the mail to the post office today. So we're going to wrap it up probably about 3 o'clock, because we are focusing today on the Oriental Baltimore. Can you see I filled the set with other stuff just so it looked okay, but the main focus is this guy here behind me. I just went and grabbed this as well. So just need to run through my clubs. Applique sampler, waiting for me. Now 2/3 through quilting the quilt. Madam Butterfly, you're getting, in the Quilter's Life, you are getting bits and bobs every couple of days, as Natasha would say. And you've got your 3D petals. And then I just wanted to give you a little sneaky of what the finished one, a finished lotus flower looks like. So I am finishing off this block, and then I will be back tomorrow evening. You'll get a post that talks about actually quilting and preparing your background block to put all your 3D leaves and petals onto. So for everyone not doing the quilt or not in a Quilter's Life, it's not too late. If you want to join, let me know. We can sort it out for you. But this is the upgraded version of the lotus flower block. Sorry, that was a chicken on a run. Still freaks me out. They're right outside the window. Where am I going to put this? I'll put it down there. So that's on Oriental Baltimore. There was a little bit of a how to set it up. We're still learning how to work with setting things up manually in A Quilter's Life. We try to make it easy and book them all ahead of time, and we fall in a heap. So I think the pattern might be up now, but this video goes up to complete that tonight. So Cass will upload this. That just means it's going to be easy for A Quilter's Life members to actually find the demo all the time, and it will be put in with your ginger block. So for those that don't know, on A Quilter's Life, and this is where I try and do this while I'm talking to you. I don't know if I can. Here we go. The whole, here we go. Look, I can. Look, I can do that. Oh, the power. Power, it's amazing. Okay, so please tell me I didn't turn that off. No, I didn't. It's all right. Or what it is that on A Quilter's Life, yeah, I did it. You get all of the patterns for the Oriental Baltimore as part of your membership. So it's effectively $10 a month plus this, plus Madam Butterfly, all in there, plus other stuff. So for those that are doing it, this will go up with the pattern and everything for you tonight. And if you haven't joined yet and you do want to join, it's not too late, because you can buy the previous 2 months online separately with the pattern, and then you could actually join up and then get the ginger block this month. So just for those that are joining us for the first time, really thought I really thought I had turned you off then. It's just scary. Scary. This is what went out month 1. So you've got a full picture of the quilt. Then you've got introduction, how to set all your blocks up, and then the first month had the cherry blossom. So that one's still available to buy with the pattern and without. If you're in Quarter Life already and you go, oh, I think I will. Well, that's all there. You can go in and grab it with or without the pattern. If you haven't joined up, you will need to grab it with the pattern. So all of your lovely fabrics are there for that one. So you can buy with and without the pattern, and of course there is a price difference for that. And then month 2, we did the maple. So we've just got a few of those left as well. And so that's that one up here. And then a cherry blossom is this one over here. So today we are going to do the ginger. And as I mentioned on Sunday, the ginger is the one that if I'm asked to go and teach as a one-day workshop, one of the blocks from this quilt for 3D work and ruching and everything, I will usually generally choose the ginger block because I know it's down there in the corner, but I will hold it up for you. And if I need to pull the quilt down, I'm resolved to the fact that I will get it down. I'll hold that up there for you. So this one's a really good multi-purpose block for me, for techniques, because we've got 3D petals and we've got ruching and we've got lovely big shapes if you want to learn how to needle turn. Now, I'm not going to needle turn this today, and I did think long and hard about it, but you've already got 2 months where you've done pre-shaping with polyfuse up here, and you've also got bagging out techniques from the leaves and the cherry blossom. Both of those techniques are the best techniques to use for this block. So we've come a long way since I did this quilt, because I would generally use this as a beginner's block for doing needle turn, but I'm not going to. I actually want to do this, I want you to choose if you're going to do this with polyfuse or if you're going to do it with a bag out technique. And we will just go through the actual individual sections of the leaf because it's actually really good fun the way they all go together with the flowers. So we'll have a look at that. And then next month, as there's no spoiler alert, it's already on the website, we're going to do the clematis. So that takes us from doing flat 3D petals that get sort of pleated and intertwined together up to doing ones that we gather at the base, and then we get that whole beautiful full effect. Again, those that are doing Madame Butterfly, you are all over that because you got those instructions for your lotus petals yesterday. And you can use that technique for so many different shapes of flowers and leaves and things. So that's going to be next month. Right, so in this pack, if you grab the pack or not, you've got your instructions. So these are going to be readily available for you on a Quilter's Life to download. And what I always say to people, if you don't want to waste your ink, don't. Just print it in black and white, and if you need to refer to the colours, you can always go back to the club and have a look at it. And please do remember they only stay up for a month. So you do need to download them onto your desktop if you want to keep them. And we do that so that smart bunnies can't join in 10 months time and grab all of the patterns for 1 month's membership. So I'm sure you can understand that, but that is why we take them down at the end of each month. So this is the one we're doing. We've got all our instructions in here that I'm going to run through for you with our leaves, our petals, all of that's in here. And then we've got our actual diagram to put together. So I'm going to stick this together first. So we've got that ready to go. So I'll pop this over. Now while I'm doing this, you can see here, these are the fabrics that come in the kit, which will just be the fabric on its own or with the pattern. So you've again got your fat quarter of Black Magic, and you've got a large piece of this beautiful lizard batik, Hoffman batik. Then when we go to this sort of really mustardy, yellowy, I don't know how else to describe it, mustardy, yellowy, yolk coloured, let's go yolk coloured yellow. And then we've got this beautiful red. I mean, all of the Hoffman batik reds are just that little bit different. This one is bordering on going to a pinky red, and it works so well for this particular design because we've got these long narrow petals to make. Then we've got a beautiful big chunk of amber fairy frost, In fact, that is not, you've got two there. Obviously I've grabbed that quickly to put a kit together to show you. The rest of them are out on the bench. Oh, that's why I was short one. Okay, that makes sense. What you actually get is what we call a triangle fat eighth. So what that means is that we take a fat quarter and we cut it into a triangle. And what that does, it gives you this beautiful long edge that's already cut on the bias for you, because we're going to be doing ruching and we want that on the bias. And we'll do that, you'll see that a lot in our kits. We'll do it as well for where you're going to be cutting bias strips or stems or things like that. There's some in the Madame Butterfly kits as well. So the amber is what we're going to use to do our ginger spikes. And then these two have been cut down ready for you to do your 3D flowers. So I want to set that aside for a minute. When you have a look under today's banner on the website, did I miss something? Did I miss something? No, okay. All right, oh, you're all good. Okay, fine. So, just chat amongst yourselves. So, Fee, you're coming. Oh, you are coming. You've bought a ticket on the Try Booking. Excellent. Lovely. Hello, Leanne, Maria, and Kathy. Lovely to see you. I've just popped this under the banner today as well. So at the top it's got the Ginger Block Month show. This is beautiful DMC. It's 783. This one I love, and I buy in for those that wish to embellish things like this. So this is the perfect colour for embellishing French knots over the top of the red. So just if you want anything like this, I also used it for the little vines that weave up, if you want to do some of those up the size of the ginger flowers. So that's under the banner today as well. As is Polyfuse, and as is non-adhesive interfacing, just if you decide that you need a bit more for doing lots of bagging out techniques and things like that. I know a lot of you are loving using those at the moment. So, I need coffee. Got the coffee made. Coffee and water here. It's looking a bit desperate, isn't it? Right, so with this, let's just have a look at it from overhead. With this, again, it's another circular shape. And this time, the circle is made up of a few different elements. So we've got this, it's made up by the foliage down the bottom, and then it's got a separate little bit of foliage up here at the top. And then these two lines that are here are actually going to be our ruched flowers that go on. So as with the previous months, you've got your fat quarter for your background. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not going to draw this up today because I don't need to, and I think we've got the hang of this. But to transfer onto your background, if you've got a pale background, then Lightbox is going to be fantastic. If you're using the black, then transfer carbon graphite paper is going to be the best thing to use. We have been out for ages, but good news is I got notification early this morning that I've got equivalent of a truckload, a lot of it coming in those lovely packs, A4 sheet packs from the States. So it should be here late next week, I think. So I will pop those up, and they will always come up under recently added or updated on the website, but I'll mention it when it's back in stock. Once you've got a pack of that, I doubt you're ever going to have to need another pack. So if you know a friend that's got a pack, nick a bit off her and then give her a piece back when you get yours, because honestly, you only need one sheet to do the whole Baltimore. You just keep reusing the same piece. It's really, really good. So this will be my background to all mark up, but all of my pieces that are going onto this month are pretty much pre-shaped, so I can just make them all up and add them over the top. And I would say, of all the months, you know, with this particular shape, I can literally just draw a circle, because everything else that goes in the middle is pre-shaped. All right, or well, maybe just that, yeah, that line, that's going to be for one ruche, and I can run the other one parallel next to it. So you're not going to need to mark much up on your block at all. Now, when I've been chatting to people about different techniques, everyone seems to be really, really happy with the bagging out, you know, so that just means you're sewing right round, cutting a little slit in the back and turning it right side out. Everyone's pretty happy with that. But a few people asked if I could just do a little demo again of the pre-shaping with the polyfuse. So I'm going to do that for you. And if we have a look back down here, I'll pick, so if we have a look here, I'm actually going to pick to do this leaf here, all right, because it's a lovely big leaf. And if you look at the size of it, when I think about when we used to go back and do that with needle turn applique, well, yeah, it was needle turn applique on, but some people did struggle a little bit unless you really get this super flat and pop a lot of tacking stitches down. It's a large mass to keep flat, and invariably you might get a little bit of puckering happening through there. So with that in mind, I think polyfuse is actually a really, really good way to go if you're not doing raw edge applique. Bagging out's fantastic because also then you've got that extra layer of the interfacing at the back that's going to stabilize it while you're slip stitching it down. But if you haven't got any polyfuse and you've got some good, so some of the heavier freezer paper, like the one that comes in the blue box, you could use that, and the only difference would be is that you would remove that freezer paper before you slip stitch it onto the block. So you'd give it a really, really good press with a bit of starch, take the paper out, and then immediately get it down onto the block and slip stitch it on. So that is essentially going to give you the same effect as needle turning, but it's going to save you a lot of time. You're not needle turning that seam allowance under as you go. Next month, when we get to this one, we are doing traditional needle turn applique. It's time next month that we're actually going to start that. All right, so that will be next month. All right, you're all good? Yes. So when we remember the whole thing, when we come to do this, we need to get a reverse pattern of our pieces. Two ways you can do it. I could take my polyfuse, it's rough on one side, the other side's still rough, but you can see it's got a little bit of a shine to it. So I've got two options. I can flip it and I can draw onto the shiny side. Nothing against that, we can do that. Or the other thing that you can do is flip over your pattern onto your light box, retrace the design onto the back, and then everything's in reverse and you would trace off on this side. Then the main thing is you need it all in reverse to work with. So I'm going to go with the shiny side for now and grab a pen. Who have I got? Hello Jill. Hello, Diane's here. Hello Varsha. Varsha, are you new to Chandler's Cottage? If so, welcome to you. I think I've got my Play School voice on, folks. I can feel it. Maybe it's because I've got the round window in multiples up behind me. I'm not sure. Okay. There we go. So we'll cut this out. Someone asked me the other day, are they blunting their scissors using their scissors for their polyfuse? Do you know, I really had to stop and think, because this is break down water soluble fibre. I really had to stop and think, and in the end I thought, better safe than sorry, just have to use the paper scissors. But I thought, what a really good question, because invariably we leave it in, so invariably we're treating it like fabric, but I think we still treat this as paper. It'll be time for the glasses. All right. Now we'll grab our green. I love this green. It is an all-time favourite of mine, and I have just used the last lot in our kit, so I need to ring Mr. Hoffman and get some more very quickly. Well, can I tell you a secret? You know I'm terrible with secrets. I organised this morning to have just one leaf batik print done for us, just for us. and it's to go with a wall hanging, so it'll be the border on a wall hanging. And when I started the conversation, I didn't know that it was even possible, and I'm so excited. And it's to use for a quilt that's inspired by Spain, Diane. So that's a bit exciting. All right. Speaking of Spain, still got to get Diana organised with Melba into Costa Rica, and if you know anyone on the other side of the world going to the show in Spain at the end of September, there will be full Melba and Under the Australian Sun there. And I was speaking to Vivian, who's my mate from Purple Stitches. If you want a lovely, bright, cheery website and social media to follow, Purple Stitches in Basingstoke, UK is fantastic. And Viv's my mate from when we first met. We had our stands next to each other in Birmingham, and they're there again without us this year. I could have gone this year and I didn't, but next year we will be there. But she always sends photos of us looking very young and thin from 4 or 5 years ago when we were there at the show. And they've just unpacked their stuff, and they'll be setting up when you and I are just settling down for the evening. They'll be setting up at the National Entertainment Centre in Birmingham for Festival of Quilts. And I said to her, so who have you got around you? She said, oh, I've got a patchwork shop opposite me. And I said, oh, another one? She said, yeah. And I said, well, where are they from? And she said, oh, they're English. And I said, how do you know that? And she goes, oh, they're called Somerset Patchwork. And I said, no. Of all of the shops to be opposite, I've got my two mates next to each other. I said, no. Somerset Patchwork belongs to Karen Stiles from Australia, Glen Waverley. And she went, why is she called Somerset? And I said, you can ask her that when she gets there. So yeah, my two buddies are opposite each other at festival. So that'll be a bit of a laugh. I can cause mischief with that throughout the weekend for sure. All right, so now that we've got this ironed on, with a dry iron, please, just a hot dry iron. You can see it's stuck, but if I wanted to, if I'm not happy with where it is, it will lift and it will come off again. This is on the wrong side of my fabric, but of course with your batiks, if you're using batiks, it doesn't matter. So we're now going to cut it out with a scant 1/4 inch, but just before I do that, let's just have a look at where it's going to sit, because if you look down here, this curve here and this little one here are going to sit underneath other leaves. So because of that, I'm more inclined, it's going to go down like that these two here, I'm going to be a lot more generous with the seam allowance that I leave, because they are going to stay flat. I'm not going to be turning those over. There'll be little underlying flaps, okay? So then when I head up this side, what even are these scissors? I don't even know what I'm using. They're purple. Okay, when I head up this side, a little bit finer, just a really scant 1/4 inch. I'll lop off the bulk at the end and then head down the other side. I like to mention that it's only temporarily sticks, because I do know people have sort of ironed them all and then folded it all up and popped it in a bag, and it's all popped off while they've been travelling. Now that we've done that, wherever you've got a little inside curve, that's just ridiculous. I'll switch to the good ones. Just a little snip. Okay, so that's ready to go. And now it's just a case of gluing over your seam allowance. If this outer curve gets really tight and anything you decide to use this method with, I do know that Maria, when she taught me how to do this, did clip this side as well. But when you do clip this side, you just need to be wary. You can end up with some little points on your curves that might need persuading to go under when you're slip stitching on later. So we go in bulk. Shall we just do the whole lot? Let's do the whole lot up through here. This is where I always turn around to you and say, I've left my cuticle stick in the office, but I have learnt over time that the pointy end of my scissors will do the trick. go. So you just turn all those little tabs over. How cool is that? You can see they actually start to come up and turn for me and flatten out that end. So that's one down. How quick is that? Right, and we'll go down this side. So there is actually polyfuse in the maple leaf kits from last month, which will get you started if you're going to join in with us. And as I said, I'll have more really soon. Girls, everyone that's got their Madame Butterfly kits, you could nick your bit of polyfuse out of there. You'll need a little bit for your lotus flower petals tomorrow, but besides that you could nick a bit. I'll just pop a little bit down this end to fold that over. One shaped leaf, done and dusted, really, really quick. And that's that one that's going to sit there. So that is, I think, the best way to do these leaves. And as I said, you could do that with freezer paper. And now what you would actually do is give it a really good steam press with starch, so you're permanently pressing those edges you folded under. And if you hit it with the steam, it will release the freezer paper. Okay, so you've got, of course, I'm not stating the obvious, don't glue down the seam allowance if you're using freezer paper. You're just going to turn it over and press it and give it a really good steam and starch. And then when you're ready, take the paper out and pop it straight down onto your background so those edges don't start to curl up. Tackle, glue it in place, and you're away. This here too, when you get into your pattern, let me turn this around for you. See this little bit here? That is actually going to be the base of your flowers. So you can see all the little dotted lines that are a guide for placement of the ginger flowers. But this little thing here is like a little half moon, or a little half a circle, that you're going to put over the base to hide the raw edges of your flowers underneath. So that's, I'll hold this up for you. You can just see that's that little bit of red there and a little bit of red there. Now the method that I've suggested for that in the pattern is to pre-shape it with sandpaper, just the way that we did our whole circles for our Suffolk puffs with our cherry blossoms in the first month. So that's a great technique to use. However, you also now have at hand pre-shaping with polyfuse and also bagging out, and you could use both those techniques to do these as well. So, and I think that either of those is going to work really well. And then with threads, if you're slip stitching these on, and that's the reason I've got a few people waiting for me to send them some invoices for thread collections that they wanted. Steve's been playing with apps again for the website for me. So now, you know how we have, there's 2 packs on the website of Afina threads, and one was the applique sampler pack that's got sort of like a gold, I forget now, I think it's a gold, a green, an orange and a red or something like that. And then we have an essentials pack that's sort of got your taupes and creams and black. And then lots of people say, please can I have a purple pack or a green pack, or one to go with this or one to go to that. And it's really, it sort of became really challenging that we might try and have all these separate packs sort of all packed off different to our single threads. So the app. So now if you purchase 4 or more Afina threads and you go into the cart, you get a 10% discount, which works out pretty much the same as the value pack of threads. So you can do that. That's why they're all tagged under today's banner, because all of the Afinas that applies to. So whenever you buy 4, you get a discount. So it's like creating your own custom-made multi-pack. And I thought I would put this little bowl together to make it look all goody, you know, like lollies in a jar, and I didn't think about the fact now I have to go back and find all of the boxes that they came out of. So it took me 15 seconds to grab them. It's probably going to cost me 5 minutes, 10 minutes to put them all back. Anyway, so it's always going to be better value for you to buy in bulk. Now that applies if you decide you just want to stock up on, hello Miss Ginger, where have you been? Been out with the girls. If you just want to stock up on black, if you just want to stock up on, you know, a really good cream. So cream is number 50. I love this colour. It's like a grey taupe colour. That's number 1. Love that. Black is number, I can't see, glasses, 30. So those colours are really, really good. I love them. You know, you've got rich golds like number 33. That's your beautiful mid-green. Love that. That goes with a lot of under the Australian sun, so I use it a fair bit. So these are 60 weight. And what's 60 weight? Is that one? Oh, that's blue-green. No, this is the one I use. 13. These are 60 weight, so they're finer than your machine thread, but they are super strong as well, and they are perfect for handwork piecing, all that sort of stuff. The colour that I found that works best with this is, I wouldn't have picked it on the shelf, but it's actually, I'm going here, so this is number 32. So you can see it's actually a yellow green, and I love that with it. But if you wanted to go darker and you're really happy with your slip stitching, so you've got it for others, the other really nice one, I feel like we're doing lipsticks again. If I hold it up like Trini for my eyes, this is number 15. So this is 15, and this is 32. So they're fantastic. For your 3D work though, that we're doing today, you're going to want a king tut or a stronger thread, because we're doing machine sewing and then we're also doing ruching. So you want something stronger for those. I wish I could turn the camera around for you right now. Go away. You're not getting any more food. No. I've created a nightmare of feathery people. Hello, Yvonne. How are you? You made it. You made it. Fiona Sanju. Joe Landau. Hello, Joe. How are you? Yolanda, I will meet you in Birmingham next year. We are there. Oh, Joe, that's very sad. But you're here now. You've got internet now. That's good. Cool. Glad you're here. All right. So, leaves, super easy. Quick, easy. Bag them out. Turn them under. I'm not going to get the chicken. She will move on if I ignore her. Can I just come back here before we leave leaves? On the block, it's actually numbered that way because of the way it's printed out. But on the block, you have got letters that guide you on what order to add these on. So this one was actually D. So you put A on, and then B. Is that right? No, that must be for something else. That must be the shapes. I apologise. That's for the shapes. So you can see here, this guy's got to go on, and then that one's got to go on over there, and then this one actually goes on over the top, and then this one goes on over here, and then this one comes on. What I'm trying to say is sit and work out the best order to add them, and all the while you're doing it, just remember that your 3D flowers will be going on pretty much first. So this one up here that we're going to put on, which is one of the big ginger flowers, he can go on straight away, no problem. This one down here, fun stuff. This will go on, then this piece, then this one, then this one, then the flower, then the base, then this one, and that one, and so on. Okay, so just sit and have a little bit of a play. Have a look at the photo that's on the front of the pattern, and I would actually pretty much tack it all on first, so you're really happy you've got them in the best order, and then sit and slip stitch them all on with your chosen green thread. All right, let's talk next. Let's go ruching. So thimble in pocket. Gonna need that. So back to this, we've got our lovely big bit here of fabric that's been cut on the bias. So that's our triangle that we've got here, and I'm going to take this edge that's been cut on the bias, fold it up just so it's easier to cut on my table here, and I'm going to find myself a retro cutter. So these strips are actually cut 2 inches wide. There are lots and lots of different widths you can use. but my stock standard width is usually 2 inches to cut. On Madame Butterfly, we will be doing narrower strips. We will be taking that down to, I think, 1.5 for the wisteria, and we'll actually be going down to 1 for your bonsai foliage. So there'll be different strips used. This one up here, we'll come back and do ruching again when we do the chrysanthemum. But you can see there's different colours in there, and we actually pre-piece a square or a piece together that we then cut the strips on the bias from, so we get lovely multicoloured flowers. And I know I've said it 1,000 times, if you love ruching, adding a little bit of ombre to your stash is well worth it, because you can get beautiful effects using them. Would it be too much of a distraction if I leave this one and listen while I'm driving? No, Fiona, we can just mention your name every 5 seconds to just scare you while you're driving. That's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with it. I was listening to Jonathan Coleman in the UK while driving the other day, so I don't have a problem with that at all. John's going to Birmingham this week for us as well, and he's going to take lots of videos and photos and things, and he's going to let me know when they're done, and then I will share them across. I'll share the link across onto Chandler's Cottage, probably onto Instagram, so that you can click on and go and watch. He does a lot of really good stuff where we just walk the show and show you all the quilts and talk about them, so I'll get that info for you. Okay, now that we've got our 2-inch strip cut on the bias, the pattern will give you a guide. I think it will probably say about 20 inches all up. This bit's much bigger. I just like to cut it, and then I'll just keep ruching it until I get to the length I want. But you will want about at least 16 inches. Rule of thumb is it's usually twice as long as the final ruche that you want. Now we're going to give this an iron, and we need to iron the raw edges into the center. So I'll give it a good spray. Why are you all in the dark again? I thought I'd fix that. So that's water going on there. And I'll bring this up and over. Just don't burn your fingers. You can imagine if we were using one of our purple ombres here that go from dark to light, we can create some beautiful lavender spheres. You can create wheat. I've done quite a few things with these. I've got a YouTube show, Craft and Cook show on the Lisa Chandler YouTube channel, where I made that bag with the metal frame, and where I started those flowers that go pink to orange with that gelato ombre. So you might even want to have a look at that, because there's quite a few examples of ruching on there. That bag's actually been packed off to sell at the September soiree gig too. I'm going to part with it. I'm so looking forward to doing that, and it's so close. It's only 4 weeks away, so it's very exciting. Or panicky, depending on if you're an organizer or not. Oh yes, and then this weekend, Backsmash. This weekend. I may or may not be taking someone very special with me, who you all know. And let's just say, there's 3 people that run a soiree, and one of them's in the UK. The other 2 aren't. So, road trip. Gonna be good. What should we use to mark up? We'll use a Frixion or a pencil. Actually, I might actually use just a really good Sharpie for you so that you can see what I'm doing. Oh, no pressure. So who hasn't finished their soiree projects? I can see what you're all saying. I still haven't finished one of mine, one of my tea candles. If that's any consolation, I haven't finished. Alright, so this was 2 inches and I folded in both row edges, and now they're down to 1. So this, because it's only 1 wide, because I've literally doubled it over. So because it's 1 inch, to get a classic ruche, minus the coffee, we're going to mark down one side at 1 inch. That'll do us for this bit. I would just keep going. And then on the other side, I'll turn it round so you can see the other side. And then on the other side we're going to mark at 1 inch as well, but this time our marks are sitting in between the other ones. Is Robert putting up stuff on, Robert's texting me, is he putting stuff up when he's supposed to be, you know, at work, being a corporate quality manager for a large food company? Unbelievable. Okay, so I could keep going. I'll stop. There you are. So that's all marked up. And that gives us our guides for doing a gathered zigzag. So, not a Fina, I'm going to run strong stuff. So I'll use King Tut. And where's the needles? Here's the needles. There they are. If you ever wanted to know how loud it is when you knock over a ring lamp and it hits a container full of Wonder Clips, just ask Mum. She was on the other end of the phone when I knocked it over, and it sounded a lot worse than it was. But the light went over, and yet the whole box just went straight across, and it was very, very loud. I'm just threading up my strong thread, and I want a really, really good knot in the other end. Ruching to me is like, I don't know, backstitch, hand quilting, hand piecing. There is a rhythm to it that becomes really, really nice and relaxing when you get the hang of it. I suppose a little like knitting or crocheting, something like that, that's got a repetitive notion to it. So starting on one of my marks, I'm going to do a running stitch across to the other side on the diagonal towards the other mark. Can you see that? Oops, sorry, back a bit. And you can see my stitches they are not small. I actually want them quite big, about 1/4 inch apart. And we're going to stop just before the edge. I don't want my needle coming up on the fold. I actually want it stopping just before the edge. And then pull it through. Turn it round and then do the same, but this time take your needle under that fold and start again and head across to the other one. So what's happening is you're creating a loop that sits over the edge of your ruche and over the edge of your fabric, and that is how you're going to get a beautiful pull up. So I'll pull this back a little bit so you can see. So you can see there, I've actually got a loop that's going up and over the fold on the edge. So when I pull this up, I get a really nice, tight, beautiful gather. And this time here, I've stopped on the edge again, and I will go under. So up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Again, keep them nice and big. Be wary anytime that you can see a little kink or something starting to happen with your thread. Just stop and sort it out, because you don't want to have any knots that you can't undo while you're ruching. Down, down, up, down, up. So across again. I always pull up as I go, because otherwise it just puts too much strain on your thread when you get to the end, and it's the best way to make sure you get a really nice even gather. So you just keep doing this until you get a piece that is long enough for one of those ginger spikes on the quilt. I'm in the way for one of these. And you can just hold it up against that those lines that are on your pattern diagram as a guide. And once you've got your ruching to where you want it, just secure off that end and then you can chop off what you don't want. So if you have a look at this other end, which I will have to do the same with. So back down here, I will chop this off, she says. There. Chop this off. Just leave about that much. And when I'm ready, if this was the top tip of my ginger flower, I would just pick all that up and pop it underneath and tack it in place. And you'll find it really easy to conceal your tacking stitches, because you can plan that your tacking stitches are actually down between these little pleated folds, so no one's going to see them if they're in these inside little folds in your ruching. For the other end, which is the one that's going to sit underneath the leaf on the diagram, or on the leaf, so I'll pull this back over here. For down this end, where it's going to sit under this leaf, I can actually just leave that flat. And when I'm popping that leaf over the top, I can make sure that all those little bits on that end of the ruche are concealed underneath. See these extra lines on here? When you get your pattern photo, you will see that that's not a separate piece. We've actually created the illusion of it being that by adding some embroidery embellishment over the top. So you can do it, I suppose you could do it as a separate piece if you wanted to. Same down here, and the same up here, up on this one. Or you can just do it with a slightly darker embroidery thread. I did mine with chain stitch. Given my time again, I would probably do a stem stitch with probably 3 strands. So it's got a really nice chunky effect to it. So that, when you have a look at the pattern cover, you'll see, and you can make your own decisions about that. So this ruching is really, really nice to do. And as I said, those that are doing Her Ladyship over here will be using it for wisteria and for bonsai foliage next month actually, and you might like to use it to do a flower to go on your Japanese fan. And we'll also be covering it off and taking it a couple of steps further when we do the chrysanthemum block. Yeah, and please have a look at the Lisa Chandler YouTube channel show, which is to about 2 years old now, but it's still all relevant for you to have a look at. I can't remember what we cooked that day. I'll have to have a look. Right, I'll leave that for now, and then we can have a look at the third main element of this block, which is the 3D petals. So I'll pop this aside for a tip, because we'll need to come back to that. On the pattern, oh yeah, see, look, here you go. So this is our petal we're about to make. That's that base shape that goes at the bottom of those ginger flowers, okay? So as I said, you could pre-shape it with sandpaper like a Suffolk puff, you could bag it out, or you could pre-shape it over polyfuse. You have the skill, the technology, and 3 options there. The only thing I wouldn't do, I wouldn't try and needle turn it, because you're going to be going over quite a bulky base on the base of your ginger flowers. And you can see here, I popped in the chain stitch diagram because that's what I used for my leaves. Okay, so you might want to see how they're quite chunky. Anyway, I will leave that up to you. Right, we only need this one. So we'll trace off this leaf, sorry, this petal. Well, it could be a leaf. It could be a bunny ear. I mean, it's just up for grabs to be anything, really. It's quite interesting to just thinking about different applications for things. So the other Baltimore, which is not here, it's with Natasha in the UK, and she's doing it at the moment. You know, this bagging out technique, we've used it for different parts of butterfly bodies, and Suffolk puffs are not being used for the centre of maple leaves, they're being used for decorating butterfly wings. And ruching is not being used for flowers, it's being used for feathers on cranes. So we will do all of that. We will come back and do the Japanese Baltimore as well later on if you want us to. That's absolutely fine, because it will be using the same techniques but in other and sometimes more advanced applications. So I've traced off my petal, just, you know, sometimes I'm so naughty. I really should. There are people ask me lots and lots of questions, and I don't write them all down. And I feel that sometimes they're ones that I want to answer to other people as well. Oh, so Sylvia's here. Just got home. She's been watching and driving from Cobram to Numurkah. Sorry, I'm just doing that in my head. Yeah, I was probably pretty safe doing that, Sylvia. Just thinking about the road between the two. Good afternoon, Diane Limforth. How are you? Taking you where, Roberto? To the soiree. Do you want him there? Do you really? Do you all want him there? And no, you're not getting scones again. He can... I probably will bring him. In fact, Sylvia, I am bringing Emma to the September gig because Emma's available. So Emma will be with me for the Sit, Stitch, Sip and Sale Day. I thought it was really important to have Em there as well. It's also a backup in case Steve's away on a uni camp and it's first weekend of the school holidays, so we very well may be. But yes, Emma and Rob will definitely be there. And Em's great to have there as well because we will be selling a lot of fabric, sort of end of bolts and larger volumes as well. And Em's the one on the fly that goes, you need this much for backing on that size quilt, you need that much binding, this will do that, that will do that. So she will definitely be there. Garfield, she was supposed to be there, remember, for the first Garfield, but she got cook. So she will be there, which will be great, so you can see her. Fantastic. Right. Your pattern has a really cool diagram describing for you, and I don't know if she's at the Christmas one yet. I have not even been game to ask because Emma is a very big, good afternoon, Maureen and Mary, is a very big Christmas person in terms of she works at a school and there's Christmas events and everything going on. Good afternoon, Jane. And yeah, I haven't even asked. I thought maybe we should wait until she's done one and then she likes it so much she might come back for the second. Who knows? Who knows? When you've got your template, it's going straight on here. So if your piece of fabric needs ironing and you're going to use a Frixion, iron now, don't do it after, you'll lose all of your marks. So you can pop the base on the raw edge, there's enough room to do that. My girls that are doing Madame Butterfly, please watch the demo about marking up your lotus flower petals before you actually start. There's a little couple of extra tips there in the demo that I want you to see. I only need a scant ½ an inch between these because we're going to sew them in a row before we actually cut them out. This is the game changer, rather than cutting them out individually first. 2, 4, 6, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. I need 8 to give you the good demo. 2, 4, 6. Who would love to do what? Someone said, I would love to do the Japanese waterfall. Sure, Yvonne, consider it done. Actually, I don't think I'll get the original back from Natty Noo. I think I will leave it there and I will do a new one. Well, I was going to do a new one of this and I thought, I've already got 2. It's a bit silly, isn't it? So I'm doing little elements for you in the demonstrations and I'm sort of saving them all, and I thought, you know, down the track I might even do like a little collective wall hanging of all of these bits condensed. Keep in mind, of course, that you know I'm turning this into an actual fabric panel, don't you? Did I tell you that? Did I? I'm sure I did. You'll get a sneak peek next week. Oh, AQL girls get a sneak peek next week. So that's all happening. So I thought, no. But the Japanese one, there's a couple of things I do want to change, and I would like to do it on a different background. So yeah, sure. The money, we've got a money purse in Madame Butterfly, and it's got money purses in it. So the Japanese one, it's all Japanese. I just called one Oriental and one Japanese, but they're all non-floral mons. So there's more foliage ones, and there's a Japanese Japanese gong in the middle, and there's cranes and butterflies and money bags and parasols and different things. So these are all joined up. There you go. So they're drawn up, and we need to cut a piece the same size for the other side. So how dramatic is that? Hey Jen, I'm going to come and ring your bell and make noise. Okay, so we're going to head over to the sewing machine, which is ready to go, I hope, and sew around these open or clear toe foot. You are a complete tart, Ginny. A good quilter and demonstrator would actually tell you and demonstrate it by doing it to pin these together so they don't slip and slide. So just stick a couple in. Just a couple. How's the weather down there, Jimmy? I've been meaning to check. I need to head down to Tassie soon. I've actually been thinking of coming down for the Deloraine Art and Craft Fair this year to see Felicity and have a little bit of a look, a little bit of creative inspiration. It's a beautiful weekend. Right, I'll pop that there. So open toe foot here on me, but a clear one will also do the job. You want a matching thread, please, at least to the red or to the yellow, and a nice small stitch, because you're going to be putting a fair bit of pressure on these when we turn them through and push them out into shape. This is just one thing that I don't think we could ever get the same effect if we did it by hand. So I'm going to run about a 2.2 length. And if you haven't changed your needle for a while, you're going to want to do it now, because these are two super tight high thread count boutiques, so a really nice sharp needle. A 90 or an 80 is going to be well worth it. If it needs a change, you'll know about it. You'll hear the needle going in. So I've just gone right round. I've sewn on the line, not a 1/4 inch out, smack on that line. If you vary just a little bit, I would not be concerned. Mother Nature's not perfect, as I said to my lotus flower petal ladies. And just check your tension after the first one. I mean, we are doing small stitches. We've got 2 thin bits of fabric and we're going round corners. All of that can equate to the need to perhaps just drop your upper thread tension just a little bit, so that they stay pretty much nice and flat. I'm not concerned if you get a little bit of a pucker, but you do want them sort of nice and flat when you're finished. Ginny, what are you doing? Get off the bench. You don't need to finish off in between. I've just scooted along in between. My Madame Butterfly girls, it's going to feel like Groundhog Day me doing this, I know. So you can see my needle is a bit blunt because it's not liking sewing so close to the edge at the bottom, but it has seen a lot of action in the last couple of days. So, and I forgot to write down the last time I changed it on this machine, so I will not even worry about it. I'll just change it. Obviously not right now, but I will change it tonight. Oh heavens, yes, I'll be changing it tonight, because I'll be working on Be Mindful blocks tonight. I'm not sure that I will get the full demo done for Be Mindful Club people by the time it goes up Saturday. I may be a bit late because I want to get my Quilt As You Go stuff done. If that's the case, I will pop an email up for you and just let you know. You'll have your patterns to start, but I might be a couple of days behind you. I'd say I'll get my demo up for you on Sunday. Just didn't do the maths with the fact that I'm going to Bacchus Marsh on Saturday. Okay, I've got couple more to go. What I was saying to the girls in A Quilter's Life was that if you want to embellish these petals, you can, and they don't have to be solid colours. They could actually be, you know, ombres or patterned if you wanted them to. I'll just do these two and then I'll turn them through and I'll show you what I mean. And it was really important for me to get these 8 done, even though it's a bit repetitive for you, and you'll see why. When we turn them through, there's an extra little step that we have to take to get the shape of the flowers that we want. 1 to go. I'm popping down to see Mum in the morning, and when Em was here yesterday, she said, "Do you want any cutting done?" She was waiting for me to do the next thing that we were working on, and I said, yeah. So she cut, talk about ahead of time and completely out of list of priorities, but she's cut all these beautiful little squares of Christmas coloured fabrics to go in the Christmas soiree bags, well, like kits and things, because we never put anything else in there, and I thought, it's Christmas. So we're making up all these little charm square packs and things to go in, and then I'll get Steve to sort of do the IKEA, I like to call it. Remember, IKEA used to have a different special each month in their catalogue, so we're going to put little special codes and things together for our website so that you can take that home and it will say, you'll have your little Christmas bits, will say, use this code in December for this, use this one in January to get this. So we're just sort of doing that. But Em cut all of those for me when she was here. I was just thinking about what did we do yesterday? But it was a variation of many things. And that just filled in half an hour, but I'll take them down to Mum tomorrow and she's going to pack them all off for me. There you go. So they're done, and now we need to cut them out. So again, this time it's going to be scant, but I want it super scant. I want it 1/8 of an inch. A little nick on the top, and that's why that stitch has to be nice and small. Ginny, stop sucking up. It is not food time. I'm going to have to do that thing where I shove her up on the bench so that she doesn't like it and being in centre of attention, and then nicks off. You can try this with anything. You don't need my template to try this. You could draw any shape you wanted onto a piece of paper that's got a point or a rounded top and have a go. What? What's out the window? Okay. 3 to go. At least I've got that nice bright colour on one side so you can see them. You know, this is, as I was saying yesterday to the girls, this is just one of those great little sort of multi-step things to do where you can draw them up at the kitchen table. Spend 5 minutes sewing them, and then you've got, well, you're just waiting for everyone to assemble for dinner, for the pasta to cook, waiting in the car to pick up school kids. You can cut them all out and then take with you, just in case you've got time, your forceps to turn them through, and then when you're back in the sewing room again, you can hit them with an iron. Up into the top, thumb, handle over your thumb, pick up a little bit into the tape, and then push the petal down over the top. And use your forceps just to push them out into shape, like that. I could probably nip just a little bit more off those tops, but I'm not going to do it while I'm trying to do it speedy. So in the pattern, I have to remember it's been a while. Oh yes, that's right. So we've got 8 petals here. Now 4 of them This is enough for one flower, okay? I'll do the same again with the other half of the strips for the other flower. So 4 of these are going to get left at their full length, and 2 of them are going to be cut down to 2 inches high. Oh, Fiona, now I understand what you're talking about. You're not talking about the soiree. What do I take Rob for? Rob, no. There are 3 designers at a soiree. One's in the UK. The other 2 are here. Taking Marg. Marg's coming. How could I leave Marg behind? How could I leave Margaret behind when I want to take my new Look at Me bag with her embroidery on it? And we just thought it might be nice to go together and convince a few of the ladies, or tell the ladies over there about the soiree as well, because we've got them coming from up here, across there. So we thought we'd go together. And Margaret's down anyway for the weekend at family in Mentone for various reasons, but she's free Saturday. So I said, come with me, help me pack and unpack a car. So she's coming for the ride, so that'll be good. Oh, but we just don't call it that. We call it surprise designer guest with Lisa. Sounds better, doesn't it, than saying conned my mate into coming for a drive. All right, 1 more, and then we'll give these a press. So 4 of these stay the actual length, and we trimmed 2 down to 2.5 high and 2 down to 2 high. And what that's going to do for us is create this sort of more rounded effect. If I left them all the same length, it would just be a tower. So this way we get sort of a nicer shape. Actually, we had some Bacchus Marsh girls there at Nagambie, didn't we? I'm sure we did. I know we did at the Garfield one. So it'll be nice. It'll be really nice if we see some soiree friends. Right. So that's going to be my 4 that I leave. And of course this, I just, you know, this was never written in an instruction book or anything. This was me literally when I designed these, making it up as I go, and I just remember going, oh, that doesn't work. They need to be shorter. They need to be longer in the middle. And they need to be shorter. This particular shape makes really, really nice sort of bird of paradise flowers as well. Can you just, Jen, what is up? Oh, there's pigeons eating the chicken feed. Is that what's going on? You'll have to wait. She thinks she can talk to them out the window and they'll just go away. All right, so there's my 4. And so we'll get these. Right. And trim 2 of them down to 2.5. And 2 of them down to 2. So these ones come down much shorter. There we go. Does that or does that not look like a lotus flower petal, folks? It does. All right, so then you're going to have some fun, and I am just going to probably a little bit of a tack to show you. Because what happens is when you go to put them on the quilt is when you really do secure them down. So you'll sort of get them tacked together at this stage, but they'll be all a little bit wobbly and floppy. And when you actually tack them in place on your quilt, you'll be able to secure them in place a lot better. So when they come down, when they come onto the quilt on here, you can just, I'll hold that up for you. You can see they're very much still 3D. But I've got little tacking stitches down in between the folds in here, hidden underneath, that you can't see, and they hold that sort of the center of the flower up through here. Your other option is, if you want to, you can secure them down on the outside, and you can use, when you're adding little French knots, if you want to, you can also use those to secure them down. So it's going to be up to you how free and 3D you want them to be, and a lot of that may depend on whether you decide to hang your quilt on a wall or whether it goes on a bed, because you want them a little bit more secure if they're going onto a bed. So line these all up, and then the one thing too, it's the great thing about this, you've got a couple of options. You can decide that you want to have both of your flowers with the red on the outside, or you might decide that you want to do it with the yellow on the outside. So it's entirely up to you. You right? We've chased the pigeons away by talking to them, so we're good. So pick up your first ones on here, these two, and fold in half, that one, and then get the next one and fold it in half as well. So you've got your two bunny ears sitting like that, and then you're going to slip one inside the other, like that. One mistake that you can, one less than perfect thing that you can do to start with is put them at right angles. You actually want them a little bit higher up so that we can slowly form a curve to the outside shape of the flower. So once I've got them where I want them, and I'm using grey, but I would love you to use red or that yellow to match. So just a few tacking stitches to hold those two together at the base. And then this one's over the top on this side, so I'm going to pick up one of my middle ones and add it to the other side. And now I'm going to fold it in half and I'm going to slip it on top like that. And then I'll tack that one in place. And we just keep going. Just all the time, keep those tacking stitches as low as you can, so they're not going to be on view. And I'll come up a little bit higher, just up to that fold there. So that one's on. And then we'll go to the other side. So you're slowly going to build your flower up. But you can see I want them up nice and high to start with. And then when we do the next row with the long ones, I'll start angling them out a little bit more. Okay. All right, so the next row, I'll take it, instead of keeping it on that angle, I'm going to take it out a little bit further, just so it's fanning out a little bit more. This one's looking better than the one on the quilt, which it shouldn't, because I haven't done this for ages. But it's so good fun. It's really, really good fun. Alright, so that one's out there. And then I'll match it on the other side, and then we've just got the two others to go at the bottom. Can you see that? It's starting to look very cool. Look at this trashed bench. I'm really regretting pulling all those Affinas off, but I needed to prove a point that there's lots of different colours. What I should do for you actually next time is just bring the whole stand in and show you. Alright, so that's how our ginger flower's looking. And we've got 2 more to go. So these are our base ones. So you can see if I didn't angle up first, these guys would be out completely flat, and you don't want that. So I want that one to sit about there. And of course the back looks absolutely trashed, but it doesn't matter. No one's going to see that. Okay. Put that one on. And then the last one, well, I probably could have done that second last one a bit better. Right, he's going to go up and over there. Isn't that cool, the way you get all of that, the lip or the edge of the yellow showing through? So these are obviously bright, and these colours because they're ginger flowers. But may I just give you a little tidbit here, once I've got these together, of what else you can do with these. So I would love you to start thinking about all those beautiful natural orchids and fuchsias and things as well. So with these, now what I can do when I pop it onto the quilt, I can do this, and they will fall down. And then I can flatten them out if I want to, and put some little French knots on them like the ones I did on the original quilt. Like that. Then, if I turn it upside down, we have a completely different thing. So we've got one of those cycads, or we've got, with a couple of little less petals, we've got fuchsias, we've got orchids, we've got all sorts of different things. You know, if I just did that bit, I've got bird of paradises if I did them in purple and orange. So there's lots of different applications that you can use this technique for. And you know, every now and then I love to look through all my botanical books for all those beautiful exotic flowers that, you know, explorers brought back and did botanical drawings of in different places. So you can use that any way that you like. There you go. So this is ready to go. Now you've still got, remember, these little raw edges on your bottom petal here, but that's what that little base is going to cover up. So when you've tacked that on, and remember, tack down just underneath in those little 3D, actually it's not too wobbly, underneath those little 3D folds, to when you pop him onto your block, and then you'll be able to pop that base under. With this, I would be putting this onto the quilt before I quilt it, because you do need these flowers to be underneath those bases and those leaves, so they can go on. But having said that, what you can do is not attach down any of the tips on the petals, so all of these will still be quite loose, and you'll be able to get your needle and your foot up underneath onto the background, and you can get enough quilting done with this actually attached to the block. So I would pop those on before you actually quilt. Some of the other things, you know, we'll just cover it as we go. I won't put on till afterwards. Like, actually these wouldn't matter because I can push them up out of the way. These guys here can come out of the way, but I might actually leave my chrysanthemum flowers off and pop them on afterwards. It's going to be up to you. If you're hand quilting, it doesn't matter. But if you're like me and you're going to zoom at 1,000 miles an hour, which I can't do at the moment, on my quilting machine, a little bit at a time, then you'll be fine. Right, so there you go. Oh, I should have gone the other way around, and it would show up on my, it matches my top. There you go. These are really nice, and you know, it's just one of those little techniques too. If you are doing a special present for a friend who's a quilter or whatever, you saw how quick it was to make this. You could easily make a little base for this and make that the flower or the embellishment on a present. I just think that would be absolutely lovely. Or can you imagine just a tall black handmade bag, and have one of these with a little base, just a Suffolk puffs or something on the bottom, and a long stem would be stunning, just stunning on its own. Because of the colours, to have that just on a little bag. Even that little bag that we did last week, that little bag I'm turning into a doorstop, our little evening bag, that on the flap with some beads instead of one of the ruched flowers or our Japanese flower makers would be really lovely. Right, so lots and lots to do, and I will let you get cracking with that. So I'll pop this video up on A Quilter's Life for everyone on there, so you can get in and download it and get started. The kits are up for you to buy with and without the pattern, so you can get started and grab one of those. They will go out on Friday. I am winging it to the post office right now. I need to leave right now and get my stuff to the post office, and then the next lot of orders will go out on Friday, including Afina thread specials that I have promised people as well. So thank you very much, everyone. I don't know when the next show is, because Margaret and I are at Bacchus Marsh on Saturday. I'm thinking it's probably, I might try and pop in and see you on Sunday quickly just to say hi. I'll give you a heads up. Otherwise, I've got a big show planned with you and Emma on Tuesday next week at 2 p.m. We are doing purses, we're doing Father's Day stuff, we're doing new stuff with the black and pink Melba stripe. There's lots going on next Tuesday. So please pop that in your diary so that you are ready to see us next Tuesday. If you come into Bacchus Marsh on Saturday, I will see you there. And don't forget to please book your, I have to do the plug, or the other two will pick on me. Please remember to book your tickets to the soiree. I am quite frightened by how quickly the Christmas soiree is selling out. And no, we're not putting on a third day. Someone asked the other day, I said, no, I can't do a third. I can't do a third. It's two's enough. But yeah, it's filling, and I think everyone's cottoned on to what a great day, a great weekend the stitch and sew and sale day is going to be too. So yeah, it's all going to be good. All right, everyone, thank you very much. I'm going to do a runner to the post office, and I will see you very soon. All right, thank you. Bye. Miss Jin Jin.